Good morning. Today, the Executive Committee is meeting with a very busy agenda, including the city's first ever reconciliation plan. As I said last week in introducing the plan, it is an important step forward for our city, and we are genuinely committed to implementing real reconciliation measures with the full engagement of Indigenous communities. It is a living document from day one, so it's not meant to be the last word, it's meant to be the first word, developed in close consultation with Indigenous communities, but now being brought to life with their leadership, under their leadership, and with their ownership. And I want to outline that I understand the phrase that is contained in the report that says nothing about us without us. And that is something that as mayor, I'm very conscious of as we go forward with this. So that is something very important in front of the Executive Committee today and on to the City Council after that. I also want to highlight the Modern TO report, which is in front of the Executive Committee today. It's a report which outlines the proposed vision for unlocking 8 city-owned properties to help us deliver even more affordable housing, the relocation of more city jobs to locations such as the Scarborough Civic Centre. Since City Council adopted Modern TO in October of 2019, staff have been hard at work to see through the goals that we have for this program. It was always about how we could modernize our city office footprint so that we were using the space we had as efficiently and effectively as possible. And that meant taking our owned space in the civic buildings, for example, the city halls, as it were, and making better use of those, more efficient use of those, as opposed to using expensive leased space elsewhere in the city. And this, of course, can lead to the saving of millions of taxpayers' dollars on an ongoing basis. And then it opens up some of these properties for other uses, including affordable housing. And the modernized spaces will allow for jobs to be in different parts of the city in city-owned space. The program made sense when it came forward in 2019. It makes even more sense today in the wake of the pandemic. This is exactly what people expect us to do here at the City Hall, which is to find sensible ways to do things in the most efficient way possible, reducing costs so as to keep our city operations more affordable and creating more opportunities for top priorities like affordable housing. That includes making sure that we're using our city facilities, which already cost millions of dollars a year to operate, in the right way, in the best way, in the most efficient way. COVID-19 allowed us to see how and why Modern TO can work after many workers were suddenly working from home out of necessity. We know the hybrid work model on which Modern TO depended works. We saw that real time, and so now we just need to move forward with this plan, and the time to make this change is now. Modern TO will reduce the city's office footprint from 55 different sites, many of them leased, to 15 locations, primarily by ending many of those leases with outside parties and creating office hubs within key civic buildings, including City Hall itself, Metro Hall, and the civic centers in Scarborough, North York, and Etobicoke. And that process in turn will unlock 8 low-occupancy city-owned properties, generating investment capital that can be directed towards city building purposes, including, very importantly, the delivery of more affordable housing. The sites to be unlocked and repurposed include 610 Bay Street, which is the site of the old bus terminal, 277 Victoria Street, 931 Yonge Street, 33 Queen Street East, 75 Elizabeth Street, 1900 Yonge Street, which is the present headquarters of the TTC, 18 Dias Road, and 95 the Esplanade. These 8 properties have an estimated market value of at least $450 million. It's anticipated that the majority of the value will be invested into city building benefits, while a portion will be allocated to the Land Acquisition Reserve Fund as per council direction to secure more affordable housing options. I am not averse at all, as mayor, to us buying land where it is strategically advantageous for us to do so, and then using that land for city building purposes. Top of that list is affordable housing, but also things like parkland as well. By repurposing these sites, we can explore better use of public land and identify ways we can leverage the land value to build more vibrant and livable communities. Across the portfolio, the plan proposes to deliver between 500 to 600 affordable rental and ownership homes in prime downtown and midtown locations. And this is important as well, to make sure that downtown we also have included affordable rental and ownership properties right downtown, not just in other parts of the city. It also allows us to proceed with needed infrastructure and service improvements, new institutional and civic spaces, and contributions made to our land acquisition fund. So to pick one example, the site of the old bus terminal at 610 Bay Street, it presents an exciting opportunity to deliver all of affordable housing, accommodating a new Toronto paramedic service hub, new retail and commercial space, while at the same time incorporating and preserving the existing heritage structure of the bus terminal and providing for public realm and streetscape improvements. So that is possible that shows what is possible on one of these sites, going from an old bus terminal that's now no longer in use to all of these other uses, including affordable housing, but also other uses as well. I know the staff will work on these redevelopment plans and opportunities. They have yet to be determined, but it will be a collaborative effort involving the city, Create.to, and of course, other people in the private and nonprofit development sector. And we will be getting lots of impact from city councillors, from occupants who live in the area, from city divisions, as well as from external partners. I also want to note that any public services currently being delivered on these sites, including the works at 277 Victoria Street, will continue to be delivered, and robust communications will occur well before any city services are relocated. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Create.to team, the city's corporate real estate management division, city planning, and all of the other city agencies that have helped us get ready to take these next steps and to move modern TO forward. And they were moving it forward in terms of some of the preparation work even during the pandemic. It allows us to move forward not only in building more affordable housing, but also modernizing the city and the services that we have to offer. This is something that I've been proud to champion from day one. And I'm looking forward to seeing the modern TO plan come to life in the months and years ahead, pursuant to the plan that's under consideration today. It modernizes the government. It makes the city government itself more efficient. It contributes to future strategic land acquisitions, and it offers new locations for affordable housing. And these are gains that we must consolidate and achieve and move forward with now, because we have the opportunity to do so. Consolidate our gains on these things where we put the plan together, make them happen, bring down the number of city locations, make the city more efficient, and at the top of the list, make sure that we have more affordable housing for people to live in. Today is an important step forward on all of that. I'm happy to answer your questions. We have some Create.to people on the line with us if there are technical questions about this report and on any other subject that's of interest to you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll now open up questioning, starting with Momin Qureshi from City News. Momin, go ahead. You're off mute, Momin. We'll come back to Momin. We'll try Jennifer Pagliaro from the Toronto Star.
Good morning, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thanks, Jennifer. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. I wanted to ask, the reconciliation plan is obviously an important document, and there are a lot of concrete steps in there. But you and I both know that sometimes keeping track of the progress of these very big policy reports can be challenging, and it's not always clear the progress we're making. So I wonder what your expectation is. For example, there's a whole section about combating racism. That's a huge topic. It's a big task, even for a city like ours, and wondering what you will do personally as mayor to see those actions move forward.
One of the things I initiated before this report came forward was meetings that I was having on a very regular basis. Every month I was meeting 4 and sometimes 5 or 6 of the agencies that serve Indigenous communities in Toronto. And it gave me not only an opportunity to learn about the work they were doing, but also to respond to some of their concerns, which included the fact, for example, that they felt they were not getting their fair share of funding, even during the pandemic, to serve Indigenous communities. It included the fact that they pointed out to me that the Indigenous organizations were not really partners in housing for Indigenous people, but should be, because if they were going to have culturally sensitive housing, they had to be partners. And I think the results you now see, literally coming out of those meetings that I had, were that we did allocate during the pandemic a larger share, an appropriate share of money for Indigenous communities to support them, and that we now have a very substantial partnership with Ms. Waybick to do 5,200 affordable housing units. So I think in terms of my own participation in accountability, I will be continuing with that process of meeting with people on a very regular basis to hear back from them whether we're doing what we've said we're going to do. But secondly, there are quite robust accountability mechanisms built in to this reconciliation action plan. It's not dissimilar when you mention racism to what we did with the anti-Black racism action plan, where we have a group that meets, and I meet with them, I think, 2 or 3 times a year to have them tell me how we're doing on the things we said we would do. And I can assure you those meetings are not self-congratulatory meetings on either side. They're meetings where we talk turkey about whether things are getting done or not. So I welcome those kinds of mechanisms because I think it keeps the entire city government on its feet and on its toes, rather. And I think there's substantial accountability mechanisms built in, plus the efforts that I will continue to make to stay in very close touch with Indigenous communities. I'll say one more thing. I think the other part of that constant communication is going to be to even more completely engage the Indigenous communities. They still feel, and I understand their feelings very acutely, that anything that comes out of City Hall like this, notwithstanding the consultation and engagement that took place leading up to it, which was significant, is still a document prepared by the city government with respect to some of its plans for reconciliation. And of course, reconciliation is a multi-sided process, and it has to involve ownership by Indigenous communities and having them feel that this is a legitimate document they own. And so I'm very much committed, and I committed publicly to that and privately with them, that we're going to keep moving in the direction of making sure they own this reconciliation process, and that we are implementing a plan that is a plan that is very legitimate and satisfactory in their eyes, not just in the eyes of people who work in the City Hall, and notwithstanding the very sincere efforts that have been made by people inside this building.
And I wanted to ask you a question unrelated to executive, but not to the city. David Ryder had a story today about the infighting and some of the scandals happening at the city's largest union. And I wondered, as mayor, do you get briefed on these issues? Do you have any role, just given the situation and the impact it may have on so many city workers?
Well, these are largely internal matters, but I haven't had a briefing that sort of goes beyond what people have read in the newspaper as yet. But I will say this. Local 79 and all of our unions during the course of the pandemic have been excellent partners. They have been people who demonstrated a great deal of much needed flexibility to allow us to redeploy workers so that we could look after some of the most vulnerable people in our city. And so stability inside those organizations is important to us because these are our partners. And I look at it that way. I think I've had a reasonably good record on labor relations during my time as mayor, and I would intend to continue that. But that requires, me to work with the leaders of those unions and them to work with me. And so stability inside those organizations is important because they represent our employees who we value so much, and because we need to deal with them on things like the pandemic and other day-to-day matters. So I'm looking forward, obviously, to hearing more about it, not because of curiosity, but really just because I want to make sure that they can move forward in a transition they obviously have to go through now, where they're going to change leadership. And I just hope that goes smoothly for them and that we can continue to work with them on all the different things we do together.
Thank you, Jennifer. That's it for questions today.
What happened to Moment?
Moment had to step away, so he
Okay.
doesn't have any questions.
All right. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.